Get ready for some hard-hitting podcast action as you're tuned in to the Slam Session. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever live edition of the Slam Sessions. I'm your host, Albert Albanese.
And I'm Dave Lee.
And we're here live on Messin Radio, bringing you the Slam Sessions podcast. For those of you who are tuning in to hear Lauren and Jess talk about all their, fantastically, great relationship advice, they're on vacation. Lauren is in San Francisco. Jess is on her couch.
That is a vacation for a millennial, isn't it?
I believe you're 100% right.
Yeah. So this is going to be the complete opposite of, the verbal view that those ladies put on. This is going to be all about guys and wrestling.
Yeah, so we've completely hijacked their time slot for this week, and we've completely replaced it with something that has nothing to do at all with them.
And I'm personally very glad about that because it means that I get to be on air, so I really have no complaints about that. But yeah, we're really hoping that Lauren has a lot of fun out there, and Jess, we hope you're listening at home, and if you're not feeling good, feel better, and if you're feeling good, feel great.
And save me some pancakes. All about eating pancakes.
And I am not getting you tacos, so don't even ask.
Oh, come on. Will you get me tacos?
Oh, I'll get you tacos, absolutely.
Jesse's getting me tacos. He's not getting you tacos.
Nope. And we're going to eat it right in front of you. And that other favorite food you have, we're going to put that inside the tacos.
Just beautiful. Yeah. It's the best thing ever.
All right, yeah, this is supposed to be about wrestling, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Back on track. Right. Yeah. I'm supposed to be the one who heads that, right?
Yeah.
Jeez, man. All right, so for those of you guys who don't know what the Slam Sessions podcast is, if you've never listened to it before, which probably many of you who are listening live right now haven't, and anybody who's going to be listening later when I edit the show definitely does know, and they're going to look at themselves or look at me like I'm stupid. I just come on and I rant about wrestling. This week, instead of just ranting about wrestling, I have somebody to rant with, so it's kind of going to be fun. Dave, give them a little bit of a background on you and what you do and just plug away, man. Just plug away.
All right, so my name is Dave Lee, as I said before, and I have my very own YouTube channel called Dave Knows Wrestling. So definitely go ahead and check that out and subscribe and like my videos. And my videos are all about, different takes on wrestling, behind-the-scenes stuff, food for thought, things like that. Like, does Jim Cornette and the Young Bucks, do they really hate each other? Did you know there was a secret Undertaker Origins movie that never got made? Things like that. And also, what are the best ways to fake professional wrestling? Actually got a video like that already out, and I'm going to make another one, and that's coming out pretty soon. So tons of interesting topics. But that's my background. I've been a lifelong wrestling fan for many, many, many years. I'll just put it this way. The first live event I ever saw, it was still called Brendan Byrne Arena. So.
Oh, I love it.
Just date me there.
My first was at the Garden, actually.
Nice. Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. My last one was at the Garden. I saw it right a day after Christmas when John Cena made his return.
Nice. Yeah, my first ever WWE show was a Live House show, and I remember it was very, very big in my mind because I remember Kane had just debuted. He wrestled Vader. There was I think Road Dogg wrestled Dude Love, or maybe it was Owen who wrestled Dude Love. Really, cool matches. But the main event was DX versus Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the biggest thing was that Austin stunned China, which may possibly have been for the first time.
Nice. Oh, and that also reminds me, Albert has also been on my show as well, so those fans of Albert Albanese out there, and I know there are many of you, definitely go ahead and check out Dave Knows Wrestling on YouTube to see me, as well as check out my episode with Albert. That was, if I remember correctly, the episode you were in was who was the first heel that you ever liked.
That's right, and I will not tell you what that answer is because it's going to burn a hole inside you. Now you have to go watch Dave's YouTube channel to know what I said.
Yeah, the whole point of that video was that liking a bad guy is kind of like puberty for a guy. You like good guys because you're supposed to when you're a little kid, and then all of a sudden, unless you're Albert,
yeah,
you were an early bloomer for that.
I was a mark before marking was cool.
Nice,
and now it's not.
And then all of a sudden you discover it's okay to root for the bad guy. So who was that first bad guy? Now, as Albert said, he's not going to tell you the answer, and neither am I, but it is a good answer, so totally check it out.
So let's dig right into this. Look, a lot of crap's been going on lately.
Oh, yeah. In terms of current wrestling, there has been tons of things going on, and it seems like SmackDown, Raw, they're both really trying to step up their game, really trying to get those ratings back up to, big boom period numbers.
It seems like on Raw, their main vessel's been Braun Strowman, but we just saw recently Bray Wyatt debuted on Raw, and it looks like they're going to do the Eater of Worlds versus the Demon.
I think that's a feud that's long overcome. Now, I'm sad that Kane decided to go for mayor stuff because I definitely wanted to see the Demon King versus the Demon Kane. But if I can't get that, I will say Bray Wyatt is totally the feud to go for.
Can we just imagine Michael Cole trying to call that match? The Demon King just nailed the Demon King. I think he would screw up like 95 times, and it would be just a fantastic myriad of blunders.
Because Shinsuke Nakamura is on SmackDown, that reminds me, I actually have a long-standing joke with my friend about if Michael Cole ever had to call a Nakamura match, when he gets to the Bumaye, would he mess up and call it a Shining Wizard?
Oh my God. I can just hear Corey Graves just about to hit, scream King Shasa, and just hear Michael Cole, my God, what a shining wizard.
Yep.
Oh God.
I've been predicting that might happen.
Oh, it hurts my soul.
And yes, I still call it Bumaye. I don't care. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that doesn't change.
Hey, so if you guys want to really understand how this is our first time doing this live and everything, there's a phone number, and I forgot to throw that out earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Call us, 609-910-0687. Call us, talk about wrestling with us.
Yeah, Slam Session, 609-910-0687. Be that guy. Call that show. Call in right now, and you could be on this show talking with us.
Now, that would be cool, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that'd be fantastic. So, yeah.
Story to tell all your friends.
Yeah, so, yeah, back on the Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt feud. So what are you thinking about it?
I love this. I think that it's two characters that work really well. Two guys who in the ring I think are going to mesh really well, and I think they're going to tell a really good story. Now, I know a lot of people are a little bit disappointed with the Randy Orton Bray Wyatt story. I think they actually executed that pretty well. Their match maybe was a little bit weak at WrestleMania, but burning down the house, burning up Sister Abigail, kind of putting almost like putting that period of Bray Wyatt, the induction period of Bray Wyatt behind him, and now maybe develop Bray Wyatt developing, and you saw an attitude on Raw, hitting the Sister Abigail on Ambrose, on Jericho, on Miz. He's got a new attitude, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, I like the attitude for sure, but the same thing with Braun Strowman. They're kind of utilizing the whole things that always work for faces, and they're using them for heels now. To what extent, I'm not 100% sure, but, Strowman is, for all intents and purposes, the biggest face on Raw, and Roman Reigns is, technically speaking, the biggest heel. It's like, who's getting the biggest pops, who's getting the biggest boos. Triple H even said that Roman Reigns is that's the heel for the new millennium. Yeah, I know, that's not really the new millennium anymore, but still.
But no, I mean, it's true. I mean, look, we started this with Cena, and I've developed, I've addressed this topic on my podcast a lot.
You kind of have to.
The thing is that we started off with Cena, and Cena kind of got the mixed reactions, and Reigns is now even getting it even worse. And my thing is that I think wrestling fans now just think it's really cool to boo baby faces.
I think I think completely different. Now this is off topic to where we're going, but I like it. So the thing is, I think it's completely opposite. I think they've really discovered. I think Triple H himself is the person that discovered his formula for, because it's an easy fix. And I hear your point, and I'm actually think Cena gets way too little credit. I'm actually a Cena fan myself, so I'm with you for the most part. But the thing is, with Triple H, we knew there was a guaranteed reason why he was getting pushed, because of his relationship with Stephanie. And so when we saw there was a backstage reason why someone gets pushed, we get kind of aggravated about them getting overbooked or overpushed. And the same thing went on with Bradshaw. Bradshaw had a really long title run. Well, we know he made a lot of wrestlers money in his finances, so we got kind of tired of that. And we figured out the formula here. And they decided that these are two heels that get pushed down people's throats or overexposed because of a backstage political reason, which the Clique pretty much invented.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
So they're just using that formula still, but they're using it for guys that aren't heels. So I think, fans are going to react the way they're going to react. This isn't a surprise to anyone, because they've reacted the same way to Bradshaw and Triple H as they reacted for Cena and Roman Reigns. Now the thing about Cena is, I think he's in a gray area, because people don't like him because they view him, as CM Punk says, a bit of a butt kisser. Can I say butt kisser? I think I can say that.
Yeah, I think you can say that.
Okay, so butt kisser, and that's what people don't like about him, and that he, just polished a lot of apples to get where he was. Personally, I don't have a problem with that, because let's look at it. Let's look at some other examples. Tommy Dreamer, not a great wrestler. He has a baseball slide and a couple of punches. He's really not known for being a great technical worker, and I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying. But because he was Paul Heyman's boy, he got the world title eventually when he has no business in the main event in ECW.
I mean, in Dreamer's defense, he actually wanted to be the only guy who never won a title in ECW, which I thought was kind of cool.
Exactly.
But the thing is that Heyman built, Tommy Dreamer out, and it's funny because Dreamer kind of started, in a way almost similar to what happened with Cena.
Yep.
He was the ultimate baby. Well, actually, maybe Cena's a bad comparison, but The Rock, an ultimate baby face, the guy that I think they really wanted him to come out there and be like, the next big baby face, wearing suspenders and all that. And then he realized that he had to change himself up to become, what the ECW fans wanted.
Right.
The thing is that for all intents and purposes, John Cena, Roman Reigns are exactly what wrestling fans should want. Because the thing is look, I don't tend to subscribe to everything that Vince Russo says. But Vince Russo does make a point in the sense that you look at guys like Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan, and even to a point, except for the fact that he's got like an 8-pack, Finn Balor, and you look at these guys and you think, enough working out. I can look like these guys, but I will never look like John Cena or Roman Reigns. These guys are huge. They're larger-than-life characters, and that's what wrestling was always built around, being larger than life.
I don't know if Roman Reigns is that big. I'll give you Cena. Cena's like freakishly huge, and he's got like muscles on top of muscles. But Roman Reigns, I don't think he's that big.
He's just a big dude, though. Like he's
Not
Samoan.
that big. He's like like Seth Rollins. I always thought was a lot smaller than Roman Reigns. He's really not. If you pay attention how close, Roman has a presence that makes him seem like the big guy of the Shield, but he really isn't that much bigger than anyone.
No, he kind of looked all right standing toe to toe with Undertaker. I mean, he's big enough to do that. And I'm not saying he's a big guy in a sense of a guy like, Undertaker or maybe even Strowman, or he's a big guy in a sense of like Cena where he's muscle bound. He just has that big look, that big presence. He looks like a guy that when you look at somebody, you turn your head, you go, who the hell is that? That guy's somebody.
See, the presence I'll give you, but I think that's kind of manufactured because I think there's a big reason why he's still wearing that, the D'Lo Brown flak jacket. He's hiding a lot of the stuff that he's not as built or well defined. Like, Cena has to wrestle without a shirt on because he's got, this sounds really weird coming at him, but yeah, I'm just saying he's that big of a dude that you gotta, the quote Jerry Lawler, he could be a model for statues. Now, I'm just saying that's fine, but if Reigns had that look, he would be showing it off, and he's not. And I think and last time when he was in NXT and he wrestled without a shirt, he's really nothing special.
No, he's not.
Don't get me wrong, he's way bigger than I am. I'm just saying.
No, he's not. But by the same point, look at what they're doing with Baron Corbin by they're putting a shirt on him every match too.
Dude, he is flabby, man.
He is. He is, but
so no, Corbin I can't stand. But and now I know you're using.
We'll get into Baron later.
You're using your boy Vince Russo, and yes, I know you're not like 100%, but I have to go with my boy now. I know you're not his biggest fan, but I have to go with Jim Cornette here. But I'm actually going to go with the same exact point though, because Cornette was talking about how do you book a long-term champion. And what are the qualities you're looking for? Well, you want a guy who can at least look like he could beat somebody. You want a guy who, is decent on the mic. You want a guy who doesn't have a history of getting injured, and if he does, he rebounds really quickly. And you want a guy that isn't going to desert the company for more money, is not going to pull up Scott Hall or nothing like that. And he's like, that's John Cena. That's and that's the reason. Regardless if he kisses up or not, I'm just saying Cena has a lot of good qualities that people overlook. Reigns, on the other hand, I don't see the same thing. What is herniated disc that took him out of the original push, which I think is a big reason why he's kind of started off at a handicap, because he was out, he needed surgery, fine, it's the thing that happened. But they acted like his main event push was happening the whole time. And he comes back and he goes right back to it. That's why it seemed, fake and artificial, and it came, relatively, I hate to use the term, but out of nowhere. That's the thing that kind of stifled Roman Reigns to me, and that I think was the big telltale sign that people wanted Daniel Bryan at the moment, and instead they got Roman Reigns. This guy got hurt, and then he comes back right like it never happened and takes away the push they felt should have went to Daniel Bryan and holds him back.
Well, okay, now that's actually a perfect example, a perfect segue into something that we were going to get into a little bit later, but we'll do it now because we're here. I mean, hardcore versus casual fans are wrestling fans ruining the business. Now, here's something that is started with, I think, this whole Daniel Bryan phenomenon. We had 1 year where Daniel Bryan didn't get into the main event. He wasn't in the Royal Rumble. They booed number 60. They ruined the Royal Rumble that year by booing the rest of the time.
I was at that show.
I feel so bad for you. I mean, at least from my point of view, because the Royal Rumble was my favorite show, but I feel like they kind of ruined the main event for me. And maybe that's just me, and maybe I'm being nitpicky. But the year after, we got what we wanted. We got Daniel Bryan in the main event. He main evented WrestleMania. He beat Triple H. He beat Orton. He beat Batista. He beat Evolution in one night. There is no bigger push that a human being can get by beating Triple H and his boys all in one night. And then he gets hurt. and he has to relinquish the title. And yes, I know we all love a redemption story, but at that point, that was supposed to be Daniel Bryan's year. And unfortunately, and I am the biggest Daniel Bryan fan in the world. I loved Bryan since he was in ROH. I told people about Daniel Bryan before people who knew who Bryan Danielson ever was. So I don't want to catch crap from everybody sitting there going, oh, you're just a mark, or you're just a casual fan, and you don't know anything about what real life is. I know more about wrestling than probably everybody listening to the show right now, which is, and I'm just being honest.
And I will take that crap because I am actually not the biggest Daniel Bryan fan. I like him, but I don't love him. I will say that.
Well, that's fair.
So
but then
send that hate to me.
So Bryan comes back, and everybody expects Bryan to win the Royal Rumble. And I sat there and I was like, why don't we need new stars? They need to build new stars, and Roman Reigns was that guy.
Well, hold on, I've been saying this. Okay, so the first live event I ever went was at Brendan Byrne, but the first match I ever saw was a quick Dusty Rhodes match where he just beat up some jobber. But the first real big thing I ever saw was the Royal Rumble. A really long time ago, so I'm not going to say when.
Oh, come on, date yourself.
All right,
I did it myself.
I'll just put it this way: it was one that Hogan won, so I'm just going to put that out there.
91 or 92? Come on, give it to me.
91.
91, nice. It was 90 or 91, right?
No, wait, hold on. No, it's not 91. No, I'm sorry. It was in the 80s. No, I just realized it didn't matter. See, I'm terrible.
No, it couldn't be in the 80s. 89 was Big John Studd.
89.
90 was Hogan.
It was 90.
It was 90.
Right,
90 was the one where he eliminated Perfect at the end.
Yes. I'm terrible with numbers. That's one thing I can never get right. I have to remember things by WrestleMania or who won. But yeah, it was Hogan. So it was Hogan. But now, so the thing is, the Royal Rumble is great. But and I'm with you, that's my favorite pay-per-view. So when was the last time you really liked the Royal Rumble winner? Think about this for a second.
I mean, this is coming from me. I was fine with Roman winning.
Not fine. I mean, really liked it.
I did. I thought Roman. I said, here's the thing. When Roman started in the Shield, I remember looking at Rollins and Ambrose and saying, "Man, I know. I saw what's his name, Dean Ambrose wrestle as Jon Moxley at a Dragon Gate show about 6 or 8 months before he became a WWE superstar." Also, Neville was on that show, and so was Luke Harper. So I saw a lot of guys who became, essentially what's becoming some of the future of the WWE, some of the foundation that they're starting to lay now. So I knew who he was. I was a huge Tyler Black fan in Ring of Honor. I loved the Age of the Fall. I thought that Tyler Black was one of the coolest wrestlers in the world, used the internet before anybody really used the internet. Seth Rollins was an innovator in wrestling at that point, and I was a huge fan of both of them. But man, the second I saw this guy Reigns come out and he started doing a little bit more, he started with the Superman punch, he started with the drive-by, he started, power bombing people around the ring. I went, this guy's got it. And I like him, and he's going to be a world champion. He's going to be the first guy to win the world title out of all these guys. I'm putting my money on it. So I like the fact that Roman won because I was a Roman fan. I was a fan of all three members of the Shield.
Yeah, and as am I.
So I was...
Okay, then before that, then.
Before that.
Because the thing is, okay, and I'll respect that, but for the most part, people haven't been happy with the Royal Rumble winners. Like, it's not been a thing. And I do think the fact that the winner goes to WrestleMania has kind of marred the thing because now you're playing to that instead of making it some big surprise. But why not give some big surprise? Like, if somebody didn't...
They have so many pay-per-views in between that they can usurp that and give them somebody else a title shot. You know what I mean?
But even so, I'm just saying, if, let's say, Finn Balor would have been a surprise to him headlining WrestleMania. Cesaro would have been a surprise. No one would have seen it. I would love to see that. And if they headlined WrestleMania, it would have been a solid one. Chris Benoit was the last time, you did not know this guy was going to get that push, and you were glad that it did. And, okay, fine, it's Chris Benoit. But nonetheless, the narrative of WrestleMania
just take his personal life out of it right now, just wrestling-wise. It made sense.
Right. Undertaker was, for me, my answer was, and this is going back almost 10 years ago, if not longer, but Undertaker, when Undertaker won, the last time he won, was the last time I think the narrative really worked.
Shawn, when he eliminated Shawn at the end.
Yeah. You didn't know, did you know who was going to be it? No, it could have been either one of these two, but you knew you were guaranteed one of these two. I liked
the Rumble that Edge won a couple of years after that when he came back from injury and eliminated Shawn Michaels. I think it was the year after because Shawn was going out to get the match against the Undertaker, the rematch that he was going to get. So maybe that was 2 years after. I like that. I like that WrestleMania where Edge came out of nowhere and kind of won the whole thing. I was a big Edge fan too, so that worked for me.
Okay, but you get where I'm coming from.
I mean, it's been few and far between. I think
that's what I'm getting at.
The Batista win, the original Batista win was really good too. That kind of came out of nowhere. Batista was just broken up from Evolution. And he actually no, he was still in Evolution.
Yeah, when it was him and Cena.
Yeah, I mean that was a really good ending to a Royal Rumble. But then that
was a long time ago.
That was the famous double quad tear.
Yeah, but that's what. Oh, jeez.
Vinnie Mac.
Yes, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, the Royal Rumble, and I'm a big proponent of this. And WrestleMania should be like Christmas. It's a one day a year you guarantee to get what you want. The biggest face should leave with the belt. That's how it works. That's the way it should be.
But now this brings us back to the topic. Are hardcore wrestling fans ruining the business? Because what you said, the biggest face should leave and have the world championship. Who was going to do it this year? I feel like any major baby face in the WWE, with the exception of maybe Balor, would have been booed out of the building. Orton, nobody cared that Orton won the world title.
Yeah, but he's not the biggest face in the company. It's the thing, not who they're pushing as the biggest face. It's the person that the people like. You have to reassure people at least once a year that they're putting up with all this nonsense for a reason. And if you give, and yeah, fine, Balor may not be everyone's favorite wrestler, but it's the majority ruling. Like when you take Sting and The Undertaker, that's a dream match that people always wanted to happen. I don't want that match. I don't think their styles work. I like both Sting and The Undertaker a lot, but they don't work. But
I think that match would have been great 10 years ago.
Well, no matter when, I think stylistically they're a clash. I
think so too, but I think that they're professionals. They would have made it work.
But my thing is, people wanted it. So if I was a booker, do I book that match? Absolutely, I book that match because that's what people want. Even if I myself don't want it, it's about a majority rule. It's about a democratic idea. So when I'm talking about the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, yeah, the biggest face by the majority ruling, not who Vince is telling everyone are the biggest faces, who the actual biggest faces. Randy Orton may be kicked on to legendary status at this time in his career.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, and he's been around long enough, and yes, technically speaking, he might be a face, but he's not the biggest face. So,
I mean, but at that point, who do you put in that spot? Is it AJ Styles at this point?
I say yeah.
But by that same point, they put AJ in a match against Shane McMahon, and they stole the show.
That's
so
fun.
He was a heel. He was booked as a heel, but he's the biggest babyface in the company. Probably had the best match at the show.
Yeah. And that's nothing wrong with it, but AJ should have won. And the narrative this year took so many different turns. Like Chris Jericho and Owens, would I have liked that have been the main event?
That should have been the main event for me.
I'm fine with that. Jericho turns face, yeah.
Yeah, if you would have given me, more of a, you given them more time, let them put on a little bit of a longer match, give them the time that maybe Orton and Wyatt got.
Yeah,
absolutely. That would have been a saving grace for me because I think I know where you're going with this. The Goldberg Lesnar match did not need to be for a world title. There was no need for it, and I think Owens versus Jericho would have been a much better world championship match.
Yeah, well, I actually think Goldberg Lesnar didn't need to happen at all. At least not to the extent of it. We got it again in Survivor Series, and then they did that. It's like. But that's a totally different thing.
They had to give Brock his win.
Yeah, but they could have just done it at Survivor Series. They didn't need to eke it out,
But that was the thing. They had Goldberg there. They had him for a contract. They probably signed him for a certain amount of dates, and
No, they re-signed him after Survivor Series. Brock wanted that match to go to the reverse squash, which makes me mad because of the streak. You wasted that momentum on Goldberg, and I don't think Brock got it back. But anyway, my point for that was Brock thought there was more money in losing to Goldberg. I don't think so, because I think if Brock beat Goldberg, fine. Then you get a rubber match because,
Goldberg beat Brock in the first place, yeah.
But now Brock has lost twice to Goldberg.
Right, and now he's lost twice and won once. It was like his redemption was,
That's my point.
And he got eliminated by him at the Royal Rumble too. It was a very hard sell for redemption.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think it worked. And plus, the match only had 4 moves. But anyway,
there was that too.
But yeah, Balor, Balor winning would have been nice because he never really lost the belt, and him and Owens is an interesting narrative.
Yeah.
Jericho and Owens, I think makes the most sense. Jericho should go over, but then they would have to take the belt off him pretty quickly.
Yeah, probably at this pay-per-view. It probably would have been at Backlash. He probably would have lost the championship. But you know what? That would have been great because I think every fan would have loved to have seen Chris Jericho with another big title run.
Right.
I know. Look, Jericho's my favorite wrestler of all time. He's my number one. So, for me, that is, that would have been great,
right. And that's what I'm saying. And if that doesn't work, I wouldn't even mind rolling the dice on a Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the thing is, they screwed up. Like when Zayn got that big pay-per-view win where he gave 2 haluva kicks or Ole kicks, whatever you want to call them, to Owens, and then finally ended the feud. They never should have touched each other. They should have been kept far apart. The fact that they've had matches since bothers me.
Owens has squashed him in almost all those matches too.
But that's my thing. They should have kept them apart and said, this is finally over. The chapter is done. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn is done. And then the winner of Royal Rumble If it was Sami Zayn and Owens just, craps the bed on that one, then all of a sudden you see now things are different because even though they've had their back and forth, Zayn now knows how to beat Kevin Owens.
And they play that up forever.
Right. So right now I've just pitched 3 successful storylines for the main event of WrestleMania. And yes, Bray and Orton was leading up to something. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but it wasn't the final match. It didn't even make a whole lot of sense. I didn't even really like it.
I like the story. I like what they did. I like the whole, Orton being, giving away his title match, really looking like he was really going to be, a Bray Wyatt disciple in the family, screwing him from the inside. Like, it all made sense. I think it coherently booked well for the current WWE writers. I think this is one of the better storylines they've written. It's kind of lackluster, but it was one of the best they've written.
And this actually goes back to the original point, Balor and Bray. What I want to say is, now I like Bray Wyatt, and I thought he's been underplayed for a very long time. But he goes into a category though where I'm beginning to wonder if the brass management is actually correct, because he's been in the company for a while as Bray Wyatt, not just wrestling as Husky Harris, but as Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And the question I have for you is, honestly and truly, and I don't mean like fair weather. I mean seriously. Name one great Bray Wyatt match, because I ain't got one.
Honestly, I don't have one either.
That's the thing. When Brock had the title, the last time Brock before this had the title, and he wasn't, at every pay-per-view, it was Dean and Bray taking the main event, which, first off, I think it should be the Intercontinental title gets the main event if the champion's not there.
I agree.
I also think the champion should be there, but that's not the point.
I mean, the ambulance match between them were pretty good. I mean,
pretty good.
They were passable.
Yeah, like I said, I like him, and I think he's good, but he has not proven, he's been given the opportunity, but he has not proven yet that he's great or has a great match in him.
Actually, I take that back. There is one.
One?
Royal Rumble versus Daniel Bryan.
See, I didn't think that was great.
I thought that match was. I thought that was excellent. I think they told a great story. I think Bray played a great heel. Here's my thing. I think that they've booked Bray wrong. I think that at this point, Bray should have had a decent title run, and then once that belt came off of him, he's so charismatic. They should have turned him face, and I think he'd be huge right now.
See, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wanted him to have the belt too, but my biggest thing for Bray was I kind of almost wanted him to be like the Joker from The Dark Knight, where, all you people are obsessed with money, and he just views it as all you people are obsessed with the title, and he really doesn't care about the title. He just wants to create more chaos and anarchy. He doesn't win the belt because he doesn't really even want it.
The thing is that he could have won the belt and used it as a prop to hold the WWE hostage.
Yeah,
now
that's what I'm saying.
Now I'm your guy.
Yeah.
You can't do anything without me. I have this championship. I'm holding a championship in the air, a fake championship. Like it's invisible, but
But yet I can see it for some reason.
Dave can see it, but nobody, none of you can. But that's the thing. I like that idea for Bray, and I think that's always been my thought process on his character. Take a guy who doesn't have maybe essentially the best tools in the world, like a Dolph Ziggler or an AJ Styles, and put him in a category where you can make him create a whole bunch of chaos on a show, completely take a show over, and doesn't need the world championship to be a quote unquote main event guy.
But it's not just that. That for me, the biggest thing about Bray is, I'm at a point in my life. I'm at a point right now in my wrestling life where I'm really questioning if Bray has what it takes. But not only that, like I see Bray I think he's a good wrestler, and he's not utilizing his talents as well. Because when you look at Bam Bam, when you look at Vader, these are guys who people will always say, man, for a guy their size, that guy can move. Bray can move. And yeah, I know he's doing the creeping methodical gimmick, and it's going to be hard to play into type, but hey, Undertaker could do it.
I agree.
There were
plenty the top rope,
right?
Jumping clotheslines. I mean, dives to the outside. He did what he needed to do.
Absolutely. Bray needs to be showcasing that and do the physical things that he is totally capable of doing, but really make sure that his wrestling game stands on there. And in a lot
bring him out in the bigger matches. You don't have to do it every night.
Oh yeah, like the wacky line from Dean Ambrose. I thought that was amazing the first time I saw it, and now I just so sick of it.
What the rebound clothesline? The rebound clothesline he stole from current WWE NXT announcer Nigel McGuinness?
Yes, and Michael Cole called it the wacky line.
Oh my God.
I bet you didn't know that.
No, I did not. That's awful.
Yes, no one calls it that since because it's terrible, but still.
The lunatic lariat sounds a lot better.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But
poor Mauro Ranella.
But I miss you so much, Romero.
Seriously.
I mean, how am I going to hear a cheap Antonio Inoki and Carl Gotch Club plug every 10 seconds? Oh, speaking of shameless plugs, Dave Knows Wrestling on YouTube. Anyway.
Boom, there it
is. So, yeah, the thing about these guys, the thing about Bray is I really, really want him to push that forefront of the physicality, and I don't want him to be, and one of the reasons why, like I was saying, I'm not the biggest Daniel Bryan fan, because I do feel there are certain wrestlers that are very dependent upon their opponent. and they can have a great match as long as they go against someone great. But I love the guys like Chris Benoit who could take someone who's completely terrible in the ring and still pull an amazing match out of them.
I agree, and I honestly, I think a guy who doesn't get enough credit about that is Cena. Cena's been able to pull, some pretty crap wrestlers into pretty decent matches.
Yeah.
I don't. Here's the thing, this we're in the middle of a couple of different topics.
Yeah.
This is where I feel like the hardcore versus the casual fan deal is one of those things that that kind of hurts. This is where it's hurting the business. I'm just tired of seeing fans take over shows out of nowhere, and it's discrediting some of these guys who are working their ass off in the ring. I get the whole I have a ticket and I can do whatever I want crap, but I mean you're doing it to take over a show. You're not doing it because you're supporting somebody. And I think with Daniel Bryan, when they took over the show, it was because they supported Daniel Bryan, and I liked the fact that a large contingent of the audience got behind somebody. But I'm tired of hearing, and this is an example I used on my very first podcast. This was going back last year to WrestleMania. Roman Reigns. Have I been doing this for almost a year already?
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Welcome to my world.
God, I can't believe this. I mean, I know the first one was like a one-off, but either way, there was a match between Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and I want to say it was the Money in the Bank participants. It was I think it was Owens, Zayn, and Sin Cara against Miz, Ziggler, and Stardust.
All right.
And they did the wave, and they chanted stupid throughout this entire match. Yet these are all the people who were online, an hour, hours before this match, saying they don't push, the Miz is turning into one of the best heels in the business, and they crap all over him, and they don't push Owens and Zayn, and they don't push this guy, and now you know what I mean? Like it's just. You're doing the wave in the middle of their match. Like, what are you doing? There are certain times where I get you want to boo Roman Reigns because you don't like Roman Reigns. I guess I understand it, but you're not doing it because you want to. You're doing it because 16% of the audience started doing it, and you're like, oh, those cool guys over there who are drunk right now are booing Roman Reigns. I want to be cool and drunk and boo Roman Reigns. And that's how things get started.
I actually have a funny story about that. Now, I only partially agree with you on that, but real quick, a funny story. Sure. I was at an NXT house show in Philly, like when they first started leaving Florida, and there was this little kid sitting next to me. He was like maybe 7 years old, 8 years old or whatever, with his dad, and the crowd was just like randomly chanting like worse than Cena or John Cena sucks and everything like that, and then. The kid was, obviously a Cena fan, and so when they were chanting Cena sucks, and then part of the crowd, believe it or not, in Philly was chanting, no, he doesn't. The kid was screaming, no, he doesn't. And then later on, they were chanting Cena sucks, but the other side wasn't going in, and the kid just starts chanting Cena sucks, and his dad goes, I thought you liked Cena. And he goes, I just wanted to be a part of something. So that backs your point up completely.
That's what I'm saying, though.
But I was cracking up. I was laughing so hard when that kid said
That's great.
But anyway, I only partially agree with you. Like, I agree that there are times, like, especially when the cruiserweights first came in, and look, I know... they are what they are. I didn't want them on Raw. I didn't want this 205 Live. I love the tournament, but that's what it should have been. But when they were training like things like Randy Savage, and look, no disrespect to the Macho Man, but that's kind of like these guys are working hard, and you're just completely dismissing them when they're really trying. That I feel bad for. However, you're giving some phone-in match where like two guys aren't trying. My typical example for this is Randy Orton versus Sheamus. When you're giving a match that you've seen 100 times where they're phoning it in, fine. But the Cruiserweights, they were really trying out there.
But my point was that these are 6 guys who are out there. Maybe not 6. Maybe you take Sin Cara out of there. Maybe to that point, Miz wasn't the heel that he was right now. So maybe 4 guys who people are saying are being misused, underutilized, deserve to be in a main event. And you're not, and you're booing, and you're doing the wave, and you're not paying attention. You're chanting JBL and stuff like that. Like you're taking away from the product in the ring. And then when Triple H and Vince McMahon are sitting there and they're watching us and they're going, these are the guys that they all wanted to push. We're going to push these guys. Give them 10 more minutes of Roman Reigns.
I hear you, but Teddy Long booking is not what they were looking for either.
Oh, no, of course not. And I'm fine with that fact. But if you're going to go out there, support these guys. Look, the thing is that Ziggler would come out and get the biggest pop in the world, and then it led to him becoming a world champion. Now, I mean, his injuries kind of hurt his chances of ever getting back up to that plateau. But that was still, to this day, one of the biggest reactions in WWE history. Him catching that Money in the Bank. But fan reaction got him there.
But the other thing about Ziggler is now, once again, I like Ziggler, but he goes into the same category where he got the shot. Like, his Dean Ambrose SummerSlam match wasn't good. Like, it's not bad. It's just, it's not main event caliber.
I blame that on Ambrose. And I'm sorry, I'm also a guy who was a big Ambrose fan for a while. And if you want to talk about a guy who looks like he's phoning it in every single week, from the second he won that world championship, I really feel like he just went, well, I got it. I don't need to do this anymore.
Well, a big part is, I don't know if you know this, but he used to be the lowest paid. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was the lowest member of the Shield paid wise, and now he's not. Now he's in the middle.
Huh, I wonder why.
No, I'm just saying, like, so it turns out, oh, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. I thought someone was calling. Oh, yeah, call 609-910-0687. Be that called. Be our first caller. 609.
Our first and only caller. We thought we had one, but.
No, yeah.
It wasn't.
We almost did. But, yeah, 609-910-0687.
Call us.
Okay, yeah, but.
So. No,
yeah.
I get you. I think, for a guy like Ziggler, I understand that. But the thing is that fans wanted him to be pushed for so much, and they got him there.
Yeah,
now here's like another example, and something we can kind of move on to a little bit.
Yeah.
The WWE likes to force people down people's throats, and I get that. When people talk about Reigns, I don't agree with that. I think he got over organically. Jinder Mahal out of nowhere, though. Like, I mean, what do you think about this whole deal?
Well, the rumor is they're trying to appeal to India, and so that's why they gave Jinder the push.
And that's fine. That's all well and good.
Because this is a loaded issue for me.
But I'm saying, like, what's your opinion on a guy just like out of nowhere, like Jinder Mahal getting the title shot?
I think it's really bad that he clocked Balor earlier, and then right afterwards he becomes a number one contender.
But mistakes happen. I mean,
it's still a very weird thing. It's a very weird thing to give a guy a really big push right after that happens. I understand the mistakes happen, but still, I'm of the mentality that there is what is known in the industry as receipts coming. So I think it's all due.
Well, here's my big thing about this. I feel like this actually speaks to what SmackDown's been trying to push for the past couple of months. Land of opportunity.
Sure.
Anybody can get a shot. We just saw last week, this past week, this on Tuesday, it was Breezango is getting a tag title shot.
Yeah.
And look, the thing is that I love both of those guys. I actually have predicted that the second Tyler Breeze got to the WWE and he got to the main roster, that was going to be his tag team partner. I've called this since he was in NXT. I just want to point that out.
That's amazing. I hate Tyler Breeze.
I like his character. I like his character even more that he's become less of a model and more of a goofball over the past few weeks.
My thing is, there's a couple of things that bother me. Is all of his matches are kick, chin lock, kick, chin lock. And the only person I saw him who could really get on to break that habit was Jushin Thunder Liger. So you need Jushin Thunder Liger to break you of that kick, chin lock habit.
That match was awesome.
Yeah, but you're not going to have the luxury of facing Jushin Thunder Liger every week. Yeah. That's my point. So. And, so it's kick, chin lock. And it's so, and plus in NXT, which really got old with me is that for a very long time, you always heard them say, well, I like this new aggressive side of Tyler Breeze. Like, it was every week. I'm like, but anyway, I don't like that. I don't like his limited arsenal. I also don't like the fact that, well, as a Canadian, he should know better. And as being trained by Lance Storm, he should also know better.
I mean, fair. But the thing is that I like the idea of that this being the land of opportunity on SmackDown. We have we had a chance to see these guys who we don't ever get to see get title shots. And how else are you going to know if you're going to pull a trigger on a guy if you don't give him the chance to shine? And on a pay-per-view that nobody really cares about, I mean, it kind of works. I think that they need a marquee matchup there. I mean, AJ versus Owens should be the main event of that show, to be completely honest. And that's going to steal the show no matter what. But, I mean, my thing is that I don't mind Jinder getting a heavyweight championship shot. I mind it being so abrupt. If they would have given, the guy jobs to Mojo Rawley one week and gets beer poured on him by Rob Gronkowski, and then the week afterwards he's the number one contender for a heavyweight championship. That's what bothers me.
My thing is after they got rid of him, I don't know why they brought him back. He's never shown that he's good enough to be brought back. Like, he's not a great worker, as far as I can tell. And, you're right. I hear you, then maybe he can step up to the plate, but I don't think he's going to. I think this is a spoon-fed, just easy title defense for Randy Orton. And
a placeholder to the guy that we'll get to after this.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and I think Rusev was supposed to get the shot, and it's the backstage politics once again that they're really trying to placate to India, which is it. But they're not going at it in the best route.
No, they're not. But by that same point, I'm glad that Rusev didn't get the shot because I think he deserves a longer reign up and being as a number one contender instead of getting a one-off match at Randy Orton.
Yeah, Rusev's a weird guy because when he first came out, I couldn't stand him because yet again he was another
foreign heel.
Well, no, but I mean he was another kick punch kind of guy, and then accolade, and that's all he was. he was a squash monster, and I can't stand that type of wrestler. But as soon as he got way de-pushed after he lost to Cena, which upset me because I thought that shouldn't have happened. However, afterwards, he started doing this crazy thing called wrestling a little bit more.
Yeah, no, he was putting on great matches, and he started showing his personality a little bit more too. That actually, you want to bring out a guy like bring up Roman. Roman and Rusev had a great feud with each other. That whole Lana getting the cake thrown on her and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm not saying the matches may have been that great. Maybe it did go on a little long, but it was fun to watch. And but that broke Rusev out of his shell. He wasn't just Machka, Crush, and that was pretty much it. We got to see who Rusev really was.
Well, the good thing about it was that, like, with Roman Reigns, I think the fans eased off him because they had no problem with him being in the mid card, and that was fine. And I was kind of in the same mindset. You could leave him in the mid card. That doesn't bother me.
But you knew he wasn't staying there long.
Well, my problem was he never defended the title.
I agree, but apparently people from the Shield, if they win the U.S. title, don't ever defend it.
Dean never defended that thing. Oh, jeez, yeah. And I had an issue with that too. And Roman Reigns, if they want to push him, fine. And if they're going to give him the belt, fine. But at least have him defend it, because the U.S. belt and the reason why mid-card titles existed in the first place, which is completely gone now. They were supposed to be something exciting. They were supposed to be accessible. And without a TV championship, why can't we see this belt defended all the time? Like when Cena took it off of Rusev, at least he was defending it every time.
I agree, every week.
Because, my guy, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Bret Hart, and he defended that belt constantly.
All the time.
That was the belt I grew up with. I have a replica Intercontinental belt.
That Intercontinental Championship was actually, that's why, from Savage versus Steamboat to the series of matches that Bret had when he was the champion, that was the workhorse championship, and it really pushed the guy to the next level. And I think that they've gone away from that concept a little bit. And I don't like the idea. I liked the idea that Roman had to get knocked down and win the U.S. championship before he can come back up and win another world title. I liked that idea. But also, I think a lot of people are, really, and I hate to keep harping on the Roman Reigns thing, but how much are you going to hate on a guy when he hasn't really had a successful world championship run that he's been ended every turn?
Well, as I said, he doesn't deserve it. That's as far as I'm concerned.
To some extent, maybe some people think that. I think he's earned it.
I'll just put it this way, because in terms of earning, the workhorse mentality. Yeah, Dean's got that belt right now, and Dean wrestles way more than most people do, if not everybody in the company. So fine, they gave it to him, and that makes perfect sense. However, I don't like people going from the world to the IC. It's fine going to IC to the world, but I don't like them going back and forth.
It depends on the wrestler. I think only certain guys could pull it off. Jericho, because he had such a long absence when he won the Intercontinental Championship, one of his last times, he won the U.S. title. I was okay with that. But I just
get flashbacks of Brett going to WCW
and winning the U.S. belt.
But that's what I mean. When you're a main event, stay in main event. But in terms of Roman earning the world title, as I said, the people aren't taking to it, and that's a huge factor for me. Because you look at Kane, not Glenn Jacobs or Fake Diesel, but Kane as Kane. He was not around for too long, and then he won the belt off of Austin, and no one complained. Undertaker makes his debut at Survivor Series, and then he gets the belt from Hogan.
Hogan, yeah.
And it was way shorter than Roman Reigns. No one complained because those guys, they earned it. They deserve it. Brock Lesnar, another one. There are certain people who you don't question it, so it's not the time period or how long you're there. That's not what earning it is to me.
I think they missed the boat on Roman. I think Roman would have been huge if he would have won the championship right after the Shield would have broke up. Well, that's where he had all his momentum.
I have so many complaints about all that. Like one of the original complaints I heard of, and the one I subscribed to the most, was the whole reason why the Shield turned face in the first place was that way Dean and Seth could turn on Roman, thus pushing Roman as the major face, which would have worked.
It really would have.
And why they didn't do that is mind-blowing to me. Because the thing is, Roman was the person out of the three of them who suffered the most having a solo career. Seth was the best wrestler, still is. Dean Ambrose is the best on the mic, still is. Roman is the one who wasn't best at anything. He was the one who needed the most help when it came to sink or swim on your own. Dean, so why did they not give it to him?
I don't know.
Because that's the thing. It's about hand-holding. It's about prepping the guy, and he wasn't ready, but they just decided he's going to be the guy now, ready or not, and he wasn't, and he still isn't, and he's never gotten that thing. And there's some guys you could throw in the water and they'll swim, like Brock Lesnar, but there are plenty of other guys out there who you can't do that to.
I think they think they hurt Roman by doing what they did to him. I don't disagree with that. And another guy who's I think coming up right now that I think is can be heavily compared to Roman is Corbin. Baron Corbin's been kind of pushed to a upper mid-card position on SmackDown after being in NXT for a while and never kind of really making a main event push.
Well, the two of them I compare a lot because, number one, they have no cardio at all. They suck one really easily. But it's the same thing. Corbin doesn't have, Corbin has an extremely limited arsenal. He has no moveset. And he's not that good. Like, I can't stand Baron Corbin. He doesn't even have a good look to him.
I like Baron Corbin on the mic. I'm not going to lie. I think I loved
he's better than Roman Reigns. But.
For maybe a few months, he was doing this indie hating gimmick, and I thought it was the greatest thing I've ever heard because he took real life stuff where everybody wanted to see all these indie wrestlers become the top successful stars in the WWE, and was like, I don't give a crap if you wrestle for 15 years. I played football and I drop people on my head for a living, and I'm better than all of you.
Well, I'll put it this way though. He's a guy. I just want to point this out. He's a guy that while people are booing Roman nonstop. Corbin's a guy who didn't have a heel turn. He was supposed to be a face in NXT. People just stopped liking him, and that's why he's a heel now. Think about it. He had no definitive turn.
Yeah, I mean, well, they stopped after the squash matches. All of his luster kind of wore off. It was, okay, he's not beating guys in 18 seconds anymore. Okay, all right. So the countdown thing, the gimmick doesn't. They never. I don't think Triple H gave him anything after that. They gave him the countdown gimmick. He ended that, and then they just didn't use anything to build momentum.
It just doesn't. Well, it doesn't work because he just doesn't have the tools for it. He doesn't have the.
He was never in my opinion, the guy just doesn't look like a face. Like, why was he ever booked as a face in NXT? It didn't make sense to me. He just never had the look of being a face. He looks like a heel. He looks like the kid at your school who will take your lunch money.
Well, I think the big key for the fact that they wanted now, okay, I understand you like his promos, but I think the big fact was he's not much of a talker, and because of that, it's easier to get a non-talker to be a face, I feel. And you think it's the other way around, like with The Undertaker and like Brock.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, but yeah, when you're a good guy, it's easier to be a man of few words like Chris Benoit. Or or even
go out in the ring and just prove it. And you don't need. I don't need to cut a promo on you right now.
Right.
Being a bad guy, you can draw heat in 2 seconds by just walking down the aisle and flipping somebody off, and all of a sudden you're a heel.
Right. Exactly. So I think if you can't talk, it's probably easier to just go at it. So you're better off being silent and being thoughtful than to speak and remove all doubt. Suffering succotash.
Okay. So now that brings me to this point. Then you don't see Baron Corbin being a top guy in WWE.
Oh, I know he will be. I just don't want him to be.
Okay, see, now I subscribe to the opposite opinion. I think Corbin's actually shown a lot of growth since he's been in NXT, since he's been on SmackDown, and look, he pulled a great match out of AJ Styles in the main event. Not that AJ Styles pulled a great match out of Corbin.
There you go.
In the main event of SmackDown last week. I think that he's improving by leaps and bounds. I agreed. AJ Styles can wrestle my hamper, and he could have a great match with it. But I mean, that's the thing is that Corbin, I think he's having better matches against You have to have good matches against good talent because if not.
But that's the thing. But Corbin ain't saving a match against nobody. I'll tell you right now. Baron Corbin versus Bad Luck Fale, and I will fall asleep.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, look, I get that, and you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but they're not going to put him in the ring as of right now with somebody that needs that kind of a help. It's exactly what they did with Cena when Cena first got his main event push. He wrestled Triple H, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, Christian, Edge, Randy Orton. Guys who were just on par, maybe a little bit better. Or either on par or better.
Kurt Angle's like a lot better.
Yeah, on par or way better than he was. I mentioned Shawn Michaels in there too. I mean, these are guys who were legends and icons, but they pushed him. They put him against guys who you couldn't see what his weaknesses was, and now his weaknesses were. And they're doing the same thing with Corbin.
But see, I'm not even sure if that is what they were doing with Cena because Cena was because NXT is not a developmental territory as far as I'm concerned. But Corbin was never a main eventer there, and nor should he have been. But Cena from Ohio Valley proved he was a main eventer along with Brock. Like they knew who they were picking in their main event. Dave Bautista, John Cena, and Brock were all proven main eventers. So I don't think this was like a covering up of weaknesses. I think this was where they were going to put him out. And the thing about Baron Corbin is he doesn't have the tools as far as I'm concerned. He's never proven it in NXT or anywhere that he has it. And plus I typically don't really like guys who come from football and come into wrestling. I'm not saying you can't, but you have a different body structure, you have a different way, and they all kind of have a similar wrestling style, which I just don't like.
Corbin and Reigns, yeah, I guess I can see what you're doing.
Here are the guys who break the mold: Farouk and Lawrence Taylor. Those two guys don't wrestle like football players.
The Rock.
I think he kind of does.
Yeah?
I think he kind of wrestles like a football player. He's
All right.
a funny football player, like a charismatic football player. But he kind of has that whole, I'm not going to do too many actual wrestling moves. I'm going to do mostly strikes kind of thing. Don't get me wrong. He's better than most because he can still do the tornado DDT, the lane to SmackDown move. Yeah, I mean, he's got some assets that the rest don't. But for the most part, he does have that similar style, I've noticed.
All right.
With the exception of Ron Simmons.
All right, so we're getting low on time. There's one thing I really want to cover.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Broken Hardys.
That's it.
Supposedly Anthem and WWE and have all come to an agreement, and we might get WWE's Broken Hardys.
Yeah, well, that was going to happen. WWE's got them mafia lawyers, so there's no way this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
As I've heard people say they have the Puff Daddy lawyers because all they say is, take that, take that, take that.
I like it.
So I'm not surprised. They should get it. The Broken Heart, because right now they're in limbo land. Like, yeah, the WrestleMania surprise was huge. It was too good. But at the same time, I think it's weird that they brought him out without knowing they were going to get the gimmick.
Yeah. I kind of, I don't think Matt knew what to do.
He did.
He had no clue what to do.
And I would have no problem with that if they just kept them away from the mic. No promo, no nothing.
Right, because he still has a streak in his hair. He's still doing the delete thing. He's being broken Matt Hardy. They shouldn't have put a microphone in front of his mouth. They should have just let him and Jeff just completely be silent. Every time they put a microphone in their face, they both laughed and walked away, and slowly descend into madness.
Yes. But I don't mind it if they tell that narrative now. Like, once they officially get the gimmick, if they don't just do it the next night that they possibly can, if they actually hold off on it and then tell a reason why.
To.
Yeah, that's what I think they need to do. And I'll be the first to say that, I don't hate it, but I don't love the broken gimmick. I don't get it 100%. I could be too old or something, but if people like it,
people like it. That's what
my
it
thing.
is.
And as I always said,
I wasn't crazy about the whole backyard match thing that they did and all that. I mean, it was cool. It was different. It was unique. And I like unique. I like them trying something new. I love that they did that, and TNA gave them the opportunity to do so. But by that same point, when you get to a gimmick like that, maybe I'm not the first person who gets it, but I completely agree with you. Everybody else digs it and everybody else likes it. Man, roll with it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what. And so I completely agree. That's exactly where you go with. If people like it, go with it, do it, give them what they want, because that's once again how businesses work. It's supply and demand. People are demanding something, you give it to them. But the WWE, as of late, they don't really contribute a lot to fan services. Even at WrestleMania, it's most about just. Here, you want the Citizen Kane syndrome. The people will think what I tell them to think, which is the wrong mentality. Supply and demand. People are demanding something. Give it to them, and then that equals money.
I can't disagree with that.
And everybody's happy. Your stockholders are happy. The people are happy, and therefore the wrestlers are happy.
I mean, I agree, but sometimes I feel like Vince McMahon gets into the mindset, and I kind of subscribe to this too, that fans always think they know what they want until they get it, and then they're never happy.
Like I said, and yeah, you know what? I hear you on that one, because as I was saying earlier, with certain guys, Dolph Ziggler, Bray Wyatt, I'm beginning to think that, while yes, I was very, very upset that they're not getting pushed like they should, I'm beginning to think maybe management is right, and maybe they don't have that Bobby Roode it factor.
There you go.
And that's, depressing and all, but, there are a couple of examples. But if you look at, background, like, Tyler Black was definitely that kind of guy.
Yes.
So there's no.
You knew Rollins was going to come up and be a huge star.
Right. And, Dean Ambrose, I like Dean Ambrose. I don't love Dean Ambrose. And I found it really weird that he idolized Bret Hart and he wrestles like that. Like, his punches just need to stop. His punches are awful.
Oh, my God. Bret threw awesome punches, and Ambrose can't throw a punch to save his life.
I don't get it. Like, that's his favorite wrestler, like, ever. And it doesn't show, like, even a little bit.
It doesn't at all.
Kind of like, if I remember correctly, Triple H was trained by Killer Kowalski.
Yes,
like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how did that happen?
No idea.
And, like, that's something that I'm probably going to do an episode about on Dave Knows Wrestling. Watch it on YouTube.
There you go.
I want to do about wrestlers who were trained by certain people or like idolize certain people. It just makes no sense, because there's a ton of them that you just like, how did this guy train you, or why do you like this guy?
Yeah, I agree.
But my thing about Dean Ambrose is I don't think you can take the CZW out of the guy. You can take the guy out of CZW, but you can't take the Combat Zone out of the.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I like him, but I'm just saying, because if I didn't know better, I would swear up and down Dean Ambrose loved Piper. Was like Piper would be his dude.
Yes.
That's what he looks like to me.
I just want to point out that on our format, I did have, just because the title to me made me laugh, Strowman's Dumpster Adventures.
Yeah.
Just made me laugh. That whole thing with Kalisto was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was, some people hated that because it took away the momentum that he was had from, destroying a ring and, pushing over an ambulance.
But
it was a good loss. Like
it was. It made sense. He he got caught up, and a little guy kicked him in the wrong way, and crap, he fell. And it's not like he lost any momentum. He locked the guy in a dumpster and threw it off the stage.
What scares me is the fact that the dumpster comes up to his knee. Like
Seriously.
That's not normal.
Like
that's
he
not
fell
cool.
he fell into that dumpster, and he was like thigh high into that dumpster. That was it.
Yeah, he went into that dumpster, and it's the equivalent of me going into a kiddie pool.
Seriously.
But Braun. But I will say, pushing the dumpster off. It's nothing new.
Neither was the ring breaking, but
but it was done. It was presented in a different way. Yeah, Yoko and Vader broke the ring, but they broke it in a different way. A superplex is definitely clutch, but the dumpster thing was just. It doesn't follow up. Like I hear what you're saying. I wish his loss would come a little bit later because this is where he can lose his save face. Yes, but at the same time, just pushing it off the stage like. He should have picked the dumpster up and hurled it. Like, that would have gotten me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he could physically do that.
Then get a prop dumpster or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like they rigged the ambulance and the
I mean,
the
they really didn't have to
thing.
have Kalisto win there, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because when Brock Lesnar beat up a car like in Street Fighter, I was like, whoa,
that was cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that didn't require any physical too much. But when he ripped the door off the hinges, I freaked out. I'm like, yo, that's like.
I agree.
Like wings off a fly. Like, that is weird.
Yeah.
And then he threw it like a frisbee.
Like it was nothing. Like it weighed like a toothpick.
Yeah, so all I'm trying to say is, pushing over an ambulance, breaking the ring, yeah, fine. The breaking the ring might not have been new, but it was presented in a different way, and it's still at least amazing. The pushing the dumpster off that thing, yeah, there was a certain veracity to it, but I theoretically could push that dumpster. It's on wheels.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's not that, yeah, it's brutal. I wouldn't want to be in it, but it doesn't match. Like, if they built it reversed, like, I think it's like Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac's first album did like Rumors did really, really well, and then the next album still did well, just not as good as Rumors. But if they flipped it, it would have been better. Like,
right, of course.
If you sell 6 million, 10 million, and then 6 million, no, not good. 6 million, then 10 million, then you're fine.
Right.
I don't know if those are numbers. I'm just giving it for instance.
Well, I mean, and that kind of like, I think we only have like a minute.
Yeah, we have a minute left, so yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Match of the week. I always give a match of the week.
Cool.
This week, Brett versus Owen, SummerSlam 94. Comment.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Give me something.
Give you something? Okay, well, for me, speaking of Brett and Owen, now I recently covered this on my show. It's a little ditty. The episode's not out yet, but I've been doing some things I've been watching because you can actually find leaked footage of this. The first ever real Iron Man match was actually called a marathon match, and it happened at house shows. Now, Brett did a couple with Flair, but one that's out there is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
I would love to see that.
And what's interesting about it is the 60 minutes end with Owen putting Bret in the sharpshooter. Bret never taps, and the clock runs out. They go into sudden death overtime, and then Bret wins.
I love it.
Sounds familiar, don't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, so yeah, we got to get going.
All right, well, guys, thank you very much for listening to our first, takeover of Lauren and Jess's show. Hopefully, maybe of many. We never know.
Yeah. Check me out on Dave Knows Wrestling over on YouTube. Dave Knows Wrestling. Thank you so much for listening.
And check me out Facebook.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. On Twitter at the Slam Sessions.
Thanks for listening to the Slam Sessions. Find us on Twitter at the Slam Sessions. We'll see you next time.